Welcome to Minutos to Earth, or as we say it in Portuguese, Minutos para Terra. I'm Samantha, and it's my pleasure to host our first episode in English. Let me start sharing a bit about ourselves. We're a group of friends from different countries with the goal to help our planet heal. And we believe that by being more conscious, kind, thinking more as one group rather than just individuals, we will be part of this healing. How can we do it? One possible way is to look inside ourselves and work on our limiting beliefs, our habits, our vices, all those parts we usually don't get in contact with. In summary, self-awareness. And it's with this in mind that we're creating this podcast now in its English version. You know that phrase, be the change you want to see in the world? Well, we want to help you put that into practice. We've been together for about a year with content on Instagram both in English and in Portuguese. And 4 months ago, we launched our podcast in Portuguese. So far, we have 14 meditations and one episode like this one that I'm bringing today. So if you happen to also understand Portuguese, or maybe you want to learn, I'll leave the links in the description. As this is the first episode, and English is not my native language, every feedback is welcome. Let us know in our social media if you liked it and how can we improve. Today's topic is about control and attitude, based on a book that I'm absolutely in love with and recommend to everyone, Solve for Happy from Mo Gawdat. If you haven't read it, include it in your wish list because you won't regret. On chapter 7, Mo tells the story of Tim. When it was time to wake up, Tim hit the snooze button twice, then realized he would be late for his 9 o'clock appointment. He jumped out of bed in panic, only to realize that it was raining so much that he'd certainly be even more delayed. He skipped his coffee and jumped in the car, looking shabby and feeling grumpy. This is going to be a lousy day, he thought. Already tense, he let his stress get the best of him, and he started switching lanes, banging on the steering wheel and shouting, "Come on!" Then, bam! The car behind him rear-ended his. It was nothing more than a fender bender, but he jumped out of his seat, charged towards the other car, and violently banged on the hood, screaming and swearing in anger. Tim's behavior was so out of control that he ended up spending the night in a jail cell. I knew this was going to be a lousy day, he thought. All because it rained. How many times something similar has happened to us? Thinking about Monday, or when you come back from vacation and you're instantly grumpy. Or when you are late for an appointment and you are taken by this bad mood and you start taking it out on those closest to you. Or when you complain that everyone else is negative and has a bad mood. Let's think about it. Is this bad mood or grumpiness going to make us get faster to our appointment or make Friday arrive faster? I don't think so. Or how many times we rehearse, prepare for an important event, think about all the details, leave home earlier, test all the IT equipment for that meeting or presentation, and when the time comes, something out of our control happens. I'll share a personal example from 2020. I was on vacation in Rio de Janeiro, where I am from, and close to my return, all the news started talking about COVID. No one knew what it was back then. And that there might be a possibility that the borders between countries would close, and only those who could prove that they resided in that country or were citizens would be allowed to enter. I didn't have my residency card, nor any specific document with me that could prove that. So in one day, I printed my rental contract, my working contract, I had an email in Slovak from my manager saying that I worked and lived in Slovakia. I did everything I could at that moment to be prepared in case the borders closed. On the day of my departure, I had just sat on the plane and I received a message from the taxi driver I had arranged between the airport in Austria and Slovakia, where I live, saying he couldn't pick me up as they would close the borders and he wouldn't be able to come back. At that moment, I knew that there was nothing I could do and that when I arrived the next day, I would rent a car and go home. And that's what I did. But when I got to the border, none of the papers I had with me were accepted, and the police officer said I would have to return. In summary, I waited for 5 long hours and I only managed to enter the country with the help of my managers and some people from my company that were able to contact the police and prove that I did work and live in Slovakia. If I tell you that I didn't cry and that I always had my mind in a good place, I would be lying. But what I want to show with this story is that even if we plan and prepare in advance, the only things we really have control over are our actions and attitudes. In my case, when I informed my managers that I might need their help, when I printed all the documents I could, or when I decided to rent the car and go. The truth is, I could have controlled better my emotions, but after traveling for hours, it was a bit difficult. In his book, Mo talks about a Hindu concept of detachment, that in his words is when you strive to achieve your goals, knowing that the results are impossible to predict. When something unexpected happens, the detachment concept tells us to accept this new direction and try again. There is no sadness or regret and no grief over the loss of control. And he also introduces another concept that he calls committed acceptance, where first we act with responsibility and then release the need for control. And he also says that it's not our expectation of success that drives results, but our diligent action that delivers them. Focus on our actions in the present moment, in the here and the now. Do our best, work towards our goals, and in case something outside of our control happens, try to find a new perspective and seek ways on how we can use that in our favor. Do you remember the story I told at the beginning? Now I'm gonna share another one that happened on that same day with another person that also hit the snooze button twice in that rainy morning. But now it's Tom that realizes that he won't make his 9 o'clock appointment. So he brewed a good cup of coffee, showered, shaved, and dressed in his favorite shirt. Then he grabbed the CD of Tina Turner, I Can't Stand the Rain, because he knew it was going to be a long, slow commute. I love the rain, I'm going to enjoy today, he thought. He called his appointment to apologize and found out that she too was stuck in traffic. He sipped his coffee while he inched along, tapping his fingers at the rhythm of the music, feeling really great. Then, bam! The car behind him tapped his rear bumper. Curious, he got out and realized it wasn't a big deal. He smiled at the other driver and said, "Are you okay?" Relieved, she got out of her car and she was stunning. "Hi, it's good to meet you," he blabbered. She laughed and said, "Good, but I just crashed your car." "Ah, but it's a good crash," he replied. Then she laughed again and said, "I love the song you're playing." And so it went. It felt like a moment from a romantic comedy. The rain added to the romance, and before long, they both knew it was going to be a memorable day. All because it rained. And the question that remains is, what's the rain got to do with anything? Remember, your attitude makes a huge difference. If you're still listening, receive a warm virtual hug. Thank you for giving us a little bit of your time, and see you on our next episode. May you be the light on someone's life today. Thank you.